The Aussie magician proved to everyone that he had a great beer trick up his sleeve when he amazed everyone on the biggest stage of all, America's Got Talent. Here's what he did. Dom starts his trick by showing everyone that the paper bag is empty. Then he produces a glass of beer from that paper bag. Thereafter, he keeps on producing more glasses of beer, sometimes from the sleeve of his jacket and sometimes from behind the table placed on stage where he performs quite a few cool tricks. Also, to bring variety to his trick, he even produces a tiny bottle of wine from the bag and magically converts it into a bigger sized bottle. And now comes the most amazing part of the trick. He takes off his right leg shoe and tells everyone that where there's a coaster, there's a beer. So in this act, before producing a beer, he always reveals a coaster. Then he lifts the paper bag to find nothing inside. Then, all of a sudden, he brings out a glass of beer from inside that shoe. Finally, after taking out his jacket and doing a few tricks on that table, he takes out his shoe and then an empty glass out of that paper bag. To end this trick on a high note, he tilts the shoe and, what do we see? There's beer flowing out of the shoe, which he pours inside the empty glass and finally drinks the beer to amaze everyone around. So, how did he perform all those tricks? Well, here's the secret. The trick involves the concept of palming, sleight of hand, and a whole lot of misdirection. Also, without that table placed on stage, this trick wouldn't have been possible. So this table also plays a major role in this trick. In his act, Dom produces quite a few glasses of beer. Where do they come from? Yes, there's a hidden shelf behind that table, and a few beer glasses were concealed inside the pocket of his jacket. But still, producing them at the right time involves a lot of skill. And we'll look at each of the reveals one by one. Now, the beer coasters are very easy to reveal as they can be easily concealed inside the paper bags or in his jacket. Let's first look at how he produces a glass of beer from that empty bag. For this part, the paper bag you see has a cut at its other side, which he concealed from the audience. Now, the cut in this bag allows his hand to easily reach near his jacket's pocket and bring out a glass of beer. Here, if you look closely, he's holding that glass of beer, which he finally reveals to the audience. Similarly, for the repeat performance, he places his left hand near the right side of his jacket and pulls out a glass of beer from the pocket and then places it in the paper bag before revealing it to the audience. For the next part of the trick, Dom brings out a tiny bottle of wine from that paper bag and converts it into a bigger one. Here, he didn't bring that tiny bottle from the bag. The tiny bottle was already concealed in his right-hand fist, which he must have pulled out from one of his pockets. That's the reason he takes everyone's attention towards the paper bag. Now, for the transformation, the bigger-sized bottle is inside his left-sided pocket. He pulls everyone's attention towards the bag, and using his left hand pulls that wine bottle from the jacket and holds it behind his hand. Then suddenly, he pulls out that wine bottle to create the illusion of the bottle being transformed. But now you know it. The tiny bottle is still in his right-hand fist, as he enjoys drinking the wine. Now, what about the tricks involving his shoe? Well, after taking out his shoe and revealing the coaster, there's a moment when he gets behind the table. At this moment, he pulls out a glass of beer from the shelf behind that table and puts it inside the shoe. The glass of beer is now concealed inside the shoe, which he finally brings out to amaze everyone around. Thereafter, he produces another glass of beer which was hidden and loosely attached inside the back of his jacket as he pulls it out and reveals it from inside the sleeve while taking out the jacket. Now, the tricks he does behind the table involve sleight of hand, as he pulls out each glass of beer from the table's shelf and then conceals it behind the paper bag and that table before revealing it. Here, he's holding a glass of beer in his left hand behind that bag, and he's also grabbing that bag with his index finger. And this is how he produces the glass of beer. Now, coming to the final part, how did the beer come out of his shoe? Well, there was a moment when he was behind that table when he grabs a bag behind that table, inside which there is a shoe and an empty glass. Now, the shoe he grabs is another gimmick shoe, which has a compartment built in to hold the beer. Then Dom reveals his shoe and an empty glass from the paper bag and points it towards his feet. But now you know it. The shoe he's holding is not his original shoe, and is the gimmick shoe which he had switched with the original one behind the table. Finally, he pours beer from the shoe into that empty glass and drinks it to end this amazing trick. Now, some of you'd think, how come the beer didn't spill out of his jacket? Well, here, we can only say that Dom had practiced it quite well enough to make the beer in the glass stable inside his jacket. And there's a reason why he was quite firm in his stance, and also grabbed the beer glasses by their top and held it tightly to avoid them spilling out.